What's going on? Thank you for tuning to BroMedia Podcast. Thank you for tuning in. I'm Lazarus. I am your co-host here of the show. Lots to talk about. I am a entrepreneur. I'm a father. I'm a brother. I'm a husband. I am a normal Joe, just like you. On the other side of the camera, I'm here. I'm here with Ryan. Go for it, Ryan.
What up, everybody? Yeah, my name is Ryan, BroMedia co-founder with Mr. Laz, and this is my golden doodle Belle. She decided to join us today. Yeah, I'm an entrepreneur, business owner, and Laz and I share friendship together and interest in music and stuff that's, media, in the media right now. And we just have a lot to talk about always. So here we are doing our podcast, and thanks for tuning in.
Definitely.
And man, there's a lot to unpack, man.
Definitely a lot to unpack. Let's start off with some highs and lows. I think it helps out people get to know us, just like day-to-day stuff, like my high for this week is that taking Friday off, and we're gonna go do a little staycation at a resort. I forgot what it's called, but they have like a little water park and everything. It's not the Great Wolf one, like everybody goes to that one.
Is it in Scottsdale?
I think it's in Scottsdale.
I'm gonna be there this weekend too.
I forget the name of it, but we'll talk offline. We don't
Yeah. I don't
not disclose locations, but yeah,
we might be at the same place, man.
Hey, we'll grab a beer then.
Yeah, we definitely should, man.
And we'll introduce the wives if it's the same.
Yeah, we should, man.
I've been meaning to. I mentioned that to the wives, like, hey, we should have dinner or something with Ryan and Carrie. They're some of the greatest people that I've met over my life. So, and then for Lowe's, I'm looking forward for the just kind of again, it's the stay, getting in the pool. So I'm looking forward to that. But as far as Lowe's, I'm a little bit. I had a bad dream the other night. I told you that I'm gonna start playing at church. So I had this bad dream that the day of performance came up and I forgot my music.
No.
So it's in the back of my mind. I got to start playing and rehearsing the music. But yeah, it was just like so vivid. I felt standing up there and just felt the shame. Like, Laz, you should have practiced.
Oh man.
Yeah. So that's my low. I had a bad dream the other night.
Yeah, it was the gas station burrito hit you right before the performance.
Yeah, that's why I don't eat before I play. I would hate to be on stage and get the runs.
Dude, I'm so glad over the years and years of being on stage and all the touring and driving around and making really bad food choices, that never happened to me, at least. Oh man, that would be a nightmare. What do you do? They don't care. You just gotta let it go.
Yeah. So give me your highs and lows so far of the week.
Oh man. Well, work is remaining to be a little challenging. I guess we'll start with the semi-lows. It's just it's the ins and outs of business. It's the this is where like I think we have all seen it coming, like the winter is coming statement.
Yeah.
With the economy and the way things are going. And then I just happen to have a few follies of error happen where two major companies that we contract work for were both bought up in mergers. So all that money was tied up in the merger, and the AP department doesn't know who to pay or when to pay or who we even are because they're different companies. And this is nationwide. This is happening to other contracting companies. So, being owed several pennies, it's scary. And then, you have your own work that you do as a business, to people you like your circle, people that know what you do in the industry. And super thankful for that. People kind of just popped up out of nowhere. And and just said, "Hey, so and so has this going on. Are you busy?" Actually, no. I'm actually on a pause right now because of not getting paid. We're waiting really to get that money, and we'll finish those projects. But yeah, let's get it done. So I mean, it's kind of a low, but I'm so used to the roller coaster of business that I used to get really scared. And like I said, not fearful, but just like 3 a.m. thoughts, like, what am I gonna do? Now it's just more of like my business was started and still is based off of faith, prayer, and referrals.
Yep.
Just do the right thing. Keep your mindset good. Don't get down. Like the negative being, you could spend the rest of your day being down on yourself, or you can, be positive and make some phone calls, reach out to the peoples, uh, keep your relationships intact with people. Because that's where oh yeah, I'm glad you called. Actually, so and so, was I was just thinking about you. It's weird how it works if you just apply yourself, a little bit and not get complacent and relying on other people. Um, so, that was part of, I guess, kind of a little bit of a high and a low because that's just the life of business.
Yep.
Um, um, Real highs. I am gonna take a little vacation this weekend here in town. Not Friday off, but um, I'll be working a little bit on Friday, and then Saturday and Sunday I'll have to chill.
Okay.
Looking forward to that. And yeah, I mean that's really it. I've been following the media and the news,
Haven't we all?
and just man, just there's so much to unpack and so much to talk about, and what is going on? We got broken up with over a text message from the president.
Yep.
He didn't make it a public appearance. He just said, it's not you, it's me. And then he was gone for a long time until today. Then he just showed up, Prime Minister came to town, dude wasn't there. There was some key things. If you're going to step down, you should still fulfill the role, or, I get it if you're sick, cool, but you can hop on a Zoom, you can hop on a isolated podcast or whatever and just say, yeah, I'm doing all right, America, but he just was ghost for a long time.
So yeah, the sequences of events, I believe, are definitely weird. They don't make sense. Definitely not presidential, because we just have just a big expectation of communication, especially from the number one office in our country. It's like you said, we got a text message, X message. We'll call it a text message here, from our president Joe Biden, that, hey, I'm not going to be running.
Yeah.
There's a lot of inconsistencies in there too. There was reports of that it wasn't on the proper letterhead, the signatures didn't match. Just a lot of it looked weird.
It did. Yeah. It didn't look like his signature at all.
So it just adds to the process. Is it even genuine, that they're trying to communicate to the American people? There's this, I believe that there's this trying to curve the truth that nothing's wrong with him still. But at this point, everybody knows something's wrong with Joe Biden. Sure.
Mhm.
Okay. He got COVID. Okay, great. COVID's not a new thing for us. It's not a shocker to us anymore as it would have been back in 2020 or
it doesn't carry the same weight. That's for sure.
Yeah. So there's just, imagine the CEO of, Apple. Big responsibility. He's supposed to do his, reveal the product. What if he doesn't show up, to the event he's known for? And I'm just trying to put apples to oranges a little bit here, but what happens if he just disappears for a week without telling anybody? People are going to start asking questions.
Sure.
And I think that's what people started doing. Is Joe Biden alive? Is what's wrong with him? The deep state tinfoil moment? Did the deep state get him? People are going to start asking questions and start assuming the the worse, and then we get
Yeah.
this phone call while they're introducing Kamala Harris to accept her, like, yeah, I'm giving him, or Joe Biden's giving his blessing over to Kamala. It's just weird, like over the phone,
Mhm.
and you can't see him still.
Yeah, it's like very almost like a AI generated voice,
I
you
mean,
know.
and we're in that era. We're allowed to assume that it's not real.
Yeah.
Like
There's so much smoke and mirrors. Like it's almost expected. You almost expect people to trick you in some way.
I think
I feel really bad. My
I
wife's carrying groceries right now.
oh
And
geez.
I was like, I'm sorry, I'm podcasting with Lazar. I would have come helped you.
A funny thing, because I'm not sure if you noticed me. I was also texting my wife. Just pulled up in the
That's
garage
what I
too.
was doing too. I'm like, sorry, babe, I would have helped you. I'm shooting a podcast at last.
All right. Well, shout out to
Yeah,
you, the both of you. You guys are
she hasn't,
MVPs.
she hasn't seen me yet. But yeah, I'm like watching her on the cameras.
Shout out to the
So
wifeys.
bad.
They're MVPs.
Yeah, the real G's. I was home today. Speaking of that, as a side note, I was home today working. My wife does not sit still. Like I'm usually not here. Like I'm in the field. But today, just watching and observing and all of the things, that she does, it's crazy. Like
Mhm.
she's busier than a retired person. Like, she
Mhm.
has no downtime. And whenever I hear someone ask me, what does your wife do? Well, she stays at home. Um, she's busier than I am.
She runs a
Like,
castle.
I was tired. I was making calls and talking to people, but I was like tired. I'm like, do you ever sit? She's like, no, this is my normal day. Because when I get home, then she's making dinner,
My wife's
and
a
then we hang
my
out
wife my
together.
wife's a teacher, so she's been off for vacation or summer vacation also.
Oh
So,
yeah,
and same thing. I've been noticing for her. She's washing clothes, washing dishes. The kids always make a mess, so she's
yeah,
constantly picking up after them.
yeah.
So, again, shout out. You guys are
Yeah.
MVPs.
They're amazing creatures, and
Yeah,
somehow they still love us.
yeah.
At the end
Somehow.
of the day, there's time for that too. So thanks for that,
Hey,
ladies.
maybe we'll introduce them to the podcast one of these days and have
I was
them.
gonna try to get her attention to see if she would come in here, but I don't think she would like that if I just sprung it on her. She's
All right.
a planner.
Yeah. All right.
But anyway, sorry. Back to the
Back to the topic. So the question was this appropriate? Was this done right? Like,
Hmm.
I'll take you can
Well, at first I started thinking about, because I watch a lot of shows over the years, and I'm like, I'm not a politically smart person. I've never really been into politics until my later years in life. My parents, however, overhearing them talk about it as a kid, just kind of made sense to me, and I never questioned it. Kind of how that was my YouTube, was my parents. That was it. In the 80s and 90s, you didn't have a second reference. You had your people. You had your grandpas and your grandmas and your mom and your dad and friends, and that was it. Um, so, now that we're into this age of, I'm sitting in front of a 60-inch widescreen TV, well, monitor, curved, and I've got 4 windows open with technology, with questions to remember to ask to while we're talking. So like lots changed, right? So there's a million ways to go down a rabbit hole and make your own opinion on how things happen. But when I saw that go down, I was like, why didn't they invoke the 25th Amendment? And then I realized, okay, well, he didn't actually step down as president. He just said he's not running. So I still feel like he should have addressed the nation. It should have been a little bit more clear than on a Sunday, him writing. In fact, when I saw that, I think I sent it to you too. I think I saw it. I screenshotted it, and I was like, this is just on a blank letterhead. It doesn't say, like, it was, well, not blank, but it had his name at the top. But it wasn't like the official White House letterhead or any of that stuff. It was just like from the memos. Like basically he opened up his iPhone and wrote in notes and then shared it to the
Mhm.
world. Like it was really generic and very, for someone that had said, no way am I backing out of this. I'm going down with the ship, and in fact, the only way he's going to step down is if he invented a disease. and had to step down, which was another weird thing to say.
Yep.
But I don't think so, man. I don't think they handled it right. I think that whatever side of the fence you're on, you still wanted a different, you wanted it to be done differently. Like it wasn't a very good way to reveal that you're no longer running.
I agree with you.
Especially from a strong leadership standpoint, that didn't exude any sort of strong leadership at all.
Yeah, when I think president, when I think, presidential office, like again, I mentioned it, when I think Secret Service, I think top end communication, top end performance, you know what I mean? I think at this point, like I am getting black pilled is a term, at this point that I just don't trust whatever is in the media. I don't trust anything that comes out of the White House. And this is just because they're gaslighting us. They're constantly playing politics with us. Instead of just saying out there, guys, I need to take a week off. I'm not feeling good, like,
Yeah,
like that I would take that.
sure.
Like,
I mean, dude, you have COVID. I mean, yeah, lead with that. I mean, hey, I'm not feeling that great.
like just tell me that, Laz, I'm not feeling so good this week.
Yeah.
Let's not do the podcast.
Yeah.
It's that type of like bromanship, you know what I mean? Like we're missing that. There's no real connection with the American people at this point. Like
It was like he used COVID as like a drunk dial, Where
Yeah.
he was like, I got COVID. I'm gonna write this note. I'm kind of feeling down on myself. I'm gonna break up with the whole world real quick.
My message to the American, this goes from state to federal. Quit playing politics.
Yeah.
Like just quit it. We're done. We want people to be genuine. We want people to be real. Like I'm good.
Dude.
I'm starting to freak out here.
Well, there is so much to be said about just be genuine, man. Just break it down.
Just be real. It's not that hard.
Yeah. Yeah. You and I have a lot of off camera deep conversations and real personal stuff. And I trust you with my friendship. I trust you with my deep thoughts. I trust you with how I feel. And that's the kind of relationship you want with people that you look up to. You want to be able to trust them and say, hey, that dude, I just saw, like him or not, I just saw Trump cruising around in his golf cart with somebody talking about music. That was awesome. He's got his top 5 playlist, and he was talking about this, that, and the other. Just
talking Frank Sinatra, this, Frank Sinatra,
dude,
that,
just being real, and that's cool to see because when you see someone in an arena and they're always stoic and they're always this and that and the other, it's nice to see, nice to see somebody just looking like we would on the golf course, or wherever, and we're not working. So yeah, genuineness, man, I feel like this goes back to that Overton window thing where the window just keeps moving and we just go with it. We got to be like the smartest, dumbest nation to just keep accepting it,
I agree 100% on that. I agree with you because if this was 30 years ago, this would not fly. The people would be, up the walls. The media would have been united asking, where's Joe Biden? Where's our president? Who's in charge? Like that type of vacuum in especially in today's like political atmosphere, it's not good.
Mm-mm.
Like
that's a real bad look. It's a real bad look. I did like seeing the left and right come together and grill the director for Secret Service.
Well, let's talk about that. Let's talk about that. Like, so if you guys don't know, the Secret Service director sat in front of Congress. What was it? Yesterday on the 22nd. On the 22nd. Today's the 23rd, and it was brutal. If you guys haven't watched it, I definitely suggest you guys watching it. And like Ryan said, the most united that I've seen both aisles on a topic, because both were aligned that something happened, that we need accountability. And I'll take you can lead with your thoughts on this. on the on the uh, on the grill session.
Yeah, I mean, they all came down. The consensus was, you had 9 days and you can't answer the basic questions. And somebody so simply put it, he said, if my kid gets in trouble at school, he's going to come home and report to me what happened. And he's going to go break it down. This is something as simple as that, just what happened. And you can't take accountability for that. You keep saying, you keep stonewalling and just acting like, I mean, one of the, I don't remember who it was, one of the persons told her straight up in this hearing that she was full of shit. And it was like, nobody was disturbed by that. No, there wasn't a commotion. Well, I think one of the leaders
just out of
was like,
yeah, just out of procedure, call for decorum, but
decorum. Yeah, that was the word I was going to look for. Yeah, just we have to, as mad as you get, you have to be chill.
But you saw it in everybody's face that everybody agreed at that point.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, everyone was just very, like it was. God, that had to be uncomfortable for that lady. And she just looked like she had just shut it off. Like she was just taking it and had no emotion to any sort of cruel words that were being said. Completely just shut off. And who knows, man? If I had my aluminum foil hat out, maybe there's more to the story than we'll ever know. It sure seems like there is. It sure seems like there is. I wouldn't be surprised. The more that I look into politics, the more I realize how many like wormholes there are, and how many tricks and smoke and mirrors and then we make our own assumptions. So we can be completely off, but just based off of I used to enjoy just kind of being a conspiracy theorist and jump down rabbit holes. Now it's like, of course this is really of course how I'm thinking is probably what's actually happening. I mean, why wouldn't it be? Like
I hate being a conspiracy theorist and being right.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I agree, man. Like it's I love a good conspiracy theory, but they're not really theories, it's real. So
so I saw the hearing as it was happening, and I was just getting frustrated with her responses, and I'm sure the representatives there asking the questions were as frustrated. So if I'm getting frustrated, I can guarantee that the whole nation was like, why isn't this lady answering the questions?
Yeah.
Like, what is she protecting? Why so much secrecy? Or is she just not good at her job? It has to be one or the two, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
she's not good at her job, or she's protecting something that or someone, I don't know, something or someone.
Yeah.
But she resigned as of today, this morning. It was breaking news.
Yeah.
She's no longer director of the Secret Service. But this is also something that blackpills me, is that these politicians slash appointed folks, there's never accountability. They just quit and nothing happens, to them. In the world of insurance, in the world of securities, as an insurance agent, if I sold a policy to a customer and I sold it intentionally wrong,
Mm-hmm.
They can come back to me for writing that policy wrong. I can be personally liable for any coverages that they thought that they had and didn't receive. Mm-hmm. So for the consumer, they have a lot of accountability towards me. So I always have to do right, making sure that I'm asking the right questions, getting to know my customer the right way, what they actually need, and not overselling them, making recommendations, all that stuff. But it seems like when it comes to politics or these positions of like high offices, There's just never accountability. So they jack up, they mess up, and the next day they just resign and you know on to the
Yeah.
next thing. That's just what gets to me, to be honest.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, who knows? She is probably working a deal to have immunity to be set up financially, and then won that and stepped down. Who knows? I mean, who knows, man? Well, here was something that I found was we're on the topic was that CNN has never covered a Republican um,
Rally.
uh, rally before until that specific one.
It makes you ask questions why they were
Yeah.
covering this one.
Well, why would they be there for that particular one? And they have historically never shown up to any other campaign before, Republican campaign. So that's interesting, and I don't know, man. I'm glad the president's okay. I'm glad the president's okay. At least either both of them. Biden, didn't die that we know of from COVID or
Yeah.
anything else.
Yeah, of course. I think we value we value the life of our ex president
Yeah.
and our sitting president. Like we wouldn't want anything to happen for them. That's why one, we value security that's provided to them, and we question any vacuum in issues when it comes to like
Yeah.
the Secret Service stuff that happened. Them not being at the right moment, right time, not having information when being asked. It just seems like it was. Again, it leaves the thought and open to Americans to think that this is intentional.
Right.
And with Joe Biden, he's our sitting president. We should hate to say it to them, but we need to know where he's at all the time. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man.
Like
That's boo, man. We gotta have it on a tracker,
Yep, he needs to be on everybody's iPhone tracker. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
yep, he's sitting in the Oval Office. Perfect. That's exactly where I expect him to be.
That's the job you signed up for, man. We have questions, dude. You got to get to it.
Apple, work on that update. We need the president on the tracker all the time.
Yeah, like Santa. You can do it for Santa Claus,
right?
One of the saddest things that I'm seeing though now is like the people, and I get it's your constitutional right to have freedom of speech and everything, but something that really stood out to me was this was some dude holding up a sign, not showing his face, but basically saying this dude's a hero, American hero. I don't know if the computer's flipping that image or not, but
yeah,
not showing his face. He's at a Republican convention in Milwaukee, and he's just standing there saying that dude's a hero. And how much hate are we?
It's not okay.
How much hate are we really? Why? Like why? I get there's things people say for shock and awe, and that's go back to the Howard Stern days. Dr. Demento, Weird Al, all of those things that were in their time were like, that's the shock and awe. Now we're in this stage of like actually saying really horrible things about other people, and supporting the hatred, supporting the act of this man wanting to take out another man, boy, taking out another man. It's sad. It's sad to see that they're pushing that agenda and letting it be allowed into the Overton window to where, oh, well, that's normal now as people are, it's their right to be able to say that person's a hero.
I think we're just so desensitized, and we've mentioned this before in previous podcasts. We are so desensitized when extreme events happen. Obviously, the shock and suspenseful and thrilling aspect of movies have definitely changed from like 60 years ago from films from then. Like it could be programming like that. It could just be the stuff that we're
nobody in our age group or before us, or even 10 10 years after us could tell the difference nowadays from somebody's, a violent, a face shot from a video game to really happening in real life, because the uh the animation and the graphics are so insane that it really, if you saw it in real life, which, there's been guys go on Facebook Live and end it on camera, and it looks like exactly like you would think it would look in a video game. I just saw in the trenches in the Ukrainian war going on, somebody ran up on some dude and removed his face, just completely, and it looked fake. It wasn't, but my brain was like, oh, yeah. I mean, I'm playing a video game, and so that's kind of like it. Even for me, someone sensitive to, at least trying to be compassionate for people. That was a person, probably had a family or was somebody's son, uh, one of the two, or both. And it's sad. It's sad to wish and cheer for anyone dying violent death.
Yeah. If anything,
Unless you're a pedophile, then you should die 1,000 deaths.
Yeah, we should. Yeah, we should. As a country, we should all be united. We should not have discussions, have your debates and everything. But our nation is at a point right now where people are okay with normalizing this, and they give the person a pass because they're against their political view. Mm-hmm. Like, oh yeah, like he missed. That's not okay. We should be united. Be like, no, this is crazy, guys. Like, we don't want that. Trust me, we don't want that smoke.
Well, somebody that would say that 10 years ago would be considered sick or mentally ill. So we're accepting the fact that we're a mentally ill or sick nation. We've accepted the fact that people live on the streets and that's just where they live. They're addicted to pills and fentanyl and crime, and that's just expected. You associate people that do drugs to be bad people, and I don't think that's always the case. I think that people that are down and out on their luck and on drugs were probably at one point a decent human, but we're so used to just making things generalized as a sick nation, where of course this is just how life is. There's either the middle of the road people that's super high, or you're just on the street, and it's terrible, man. I would never wish for anybody to go through financial troubles or, be sick or deal with disease or, their families to get injured or any of that, no matter what my stances are. It's sad because, it's a sick nation and that we're okay with it. I mean, well, we're not okay with it, but it's just, how do you fix it? And, why is it the normal for violence, the normal for people to just not care about each other the way they used to?
And I think it's because we've normalized not talking. We've normalized not having discourse. We've normalized, and I'll put it this way: for the most part, most Republicans have been shut out from having a voice. Like if you are a Trump supporter, at one point, people would report you to your job and you would get fired.
Well, the Republicans are, for the most part, if you're on the left side, we're seen as, hillbilly, redneck, loudmouths, and that's not the case. I don't even drink beer. You know what I mean? And I really do respect other people's opinions that don't necessarily agree with mine. It goes back to, like, in the day, even when McCain was running against Obama, somebody in the audience stood up and said, "Oh, I have bad feelings about Obama. He's an Arab and he's this, that, the other." And McCain interrupted him. He goes, "No, he's a genuinely nice man. He's a family man. He's a good person. We just happen to disagree on some fundamentals, but that's it. He's a good man." And he moved on. He went to continuous, genuine, like, bring back that. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's okay to disagree on fundamentals. It's 100%.
Totally, we should have person A, person B. He has ideas A. Person B has ideas B. At the end of the day, we all connect at one point. Because we're all American. We're all in the United States. We're all here. So we should not this whole bickering.
to get mad and to wish harm on somebody, you sound stupid. You sound ignorant. You are the problem.
There's
100% of the time.
Yeah, there's no intelligence behind that. There's no deep thought behind that. It's caveman intuition. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah. It's very pick things up and set them down. I'm not a super intelligent person, but I do know how to show compassion for people. I do know how to maintain relationships and be as genuine as I possibly can in those relationships. Um, sometimes it's, uh, sometimes you can be over genuous in a relationship and maybe you get taken advantage of or whatever, but those people aren't your people. That's a lesson learned and you just move on from it. You don't hate them. You don't wish ill to them. You don't wish that, all these things, go start a protest and flip a car and burn a barn and all the, just move on, man. Uh, life is, we're not really here for that much time, really, when you think about it. So
Yeah.
why not make the most of our time? We only have 24 hours in a day.
We'll bring
Make the
up
most of that.
we'll bring up another topic here. So in the midst again of the vacuum of missing Joe Biden for what was 5 days, we didn't see him.
Yeah.
Obviously, we all know that he dropped out of the upcoming presidential race. Everybody was speculating, but it sounds like Kamala Harris has received enough delegates to be the nominee.
Yeah.
Um,
Surprisingly, they raised like $81 million overnight for
my
this person.
my thoughts on this is, and I'll go back to what everybody paints Trump to be, is this anti-democratic person, dictator, tyrant. It's kind of ironic. The party that screams and shouts all that stuff is that they took away, they chose somebody that nobody voted for on
Not at all.
so
Like she's ran twice.
conservatives, who everybody in the country that voted to put Trump on the ballot, is having their voices heard
Mm-hmm.
via a democratic process. But unfortunately, and I hate to say it, I hate that my friends from the other side of the aisle aren't choosing their own presidential candidate.
Yeah. Well, it was a smart thing. One of my customers today, out of the blue, just told me they would vote for Kamala or Michelle Obama. And I was like, oh, really? Why is that? And they're terrified of the immigration laws. They have a lot of family here that's illegal. So of course that they're going to vote for something that benefits them, just how we have our own opinions about things in our life that, obviously that's an important value. They don't want to lose their families back home, but can't you just do it right though? Like, can you just go through the process of getting, I get it. I have over half of my family is Hispanic. So, I mean, it's not like I'm coming at you from this like super white boy
Right.
mentality. Is that I, uh, I get it. Like you got to do what's right for your family, but like, look at the big picture. Please look at the big picture. It's not just your Theo that's here illegally. It's like murderously bad people. It's assassins, it's terrorists, it's all the things just flooding the border wide open. And until that's corrected, which even whoever takes office, it's not going to be fixed overnight.
It
It's going to
won't.
take some time,
It will.
But I told him, hey, I respect your views, but I think you're looking at a very small uh, part of the puzzle, and maybe if that's all that you want to focus on, then I understand. But like, you should look at the rest,
If I
please.
was a one issue voter, I would probably vote Democrat. Be like, yeah, I want illegal immigration to become
Yeah,
legal. You know what I mean? Then and sure, I'll vote for that. But since, like you said, I look at the bigger at the whole pie, not at just a part of the issues that we have in America. We have the economy, obviously immigration, we have the border issue. We just have a lot of overregulated industries. I'm looking at all that, and I think right now, personally, if you ask me, the conservative side has the better plan. You know,
100%. Yeah.
and that's just basing my information off of the last 8 years of what's been pushed in media. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? That the Democrats haven't really pushed an agenda towards me that says, I like that avenue, and okay, I'll choose them.
Yeah.
You know, they haven't really debated. You know,
Right.
when we voted for Biden and Trump last time around, there was no debates. You know, same thing what happened here with our governors, with Kerry Lake and Governor Hobbs.
Hmm.
There was no debates, but debate of ideas. She,
She didn't want a debater.
I'm just saying, like
Yeah.
we're regressing because we're not having important conversations.
Well, it takes it away from the, like, I feel like no matter what is said on stage, if you've got a system down that you can cheat the system, you don't need to have those. That's wasted money,
Yeah,
the voting thing. My biggest prayer to whoever this reaches, um, is that you gotta vote. Like you gotta go and vote. Don't assume that whoever you're voting for has it in the bag.
right.
You gotta vote. Like you gotta do it. And you know, I'm baffled by how many friends that I have that have never voted,
I'm gonna
but
tell
have and
you the
hold
statistic right now because
haven't hold conversations with me politically. And I'm like, how do you even you're not why are you complaining? You didn't do the basic thing as an American and just go and vote. I wasn't even telling you to vote for. I wouldn't do that. It's your personal opinion. Like I don't care who you are and what you stand for. That doesn't affect my life at all. Um,
I'll tell you here. So I pulled up I asked Google here, and roughly only 32% of Americans vote, and roughly 33% of Democrats vote. So
wow,
as a whole, we have 70% of Americans that do not vote.
that's insane to me. And it comes down to technology and how easy it is to cheat. People probably feel like it doesn't matter if I vote, they're gonna swing it.
I
They're
did,
gonna swing it one way or the other.
well,
Anytime I voted early by
I'll
mail,
correct. I rounded up, so about 66%. So
okay.
just correcting that.
Anytime I've ever voted by mail, I get a confirmation that my vote was counted and received and everything, and that's cool. Now, my technician, Jorge, last time around, did the same thing. His, I took my ballot and his ballot to the post office and put them in together. He never got that text message that his vote was counted. So that was interesting. I don't know if that was they saw him as his Jorge, his first name and decided that, oh, he clearly couldn't be voting for the right party, and so we'll just throw it out, which would be sad, but it did cost me mine because he never did get the text. He was like, it's stupid. Why should I continue voting? I'm like, he's still like, it's a flawed system, but it's the only system we have. Either don't vote or you got to vote.
Isn't it
And
crazy whenever they try to innovate the voting system and make it more secure?
dude,
That,
how can you vote for like American Idol during a commercial break?
yeah.
Right? yet you
And
can't vote for a president. The same kind of concept. Like,
like my belief in voting, it's that it's one of the most, if not the most significant right that we have here living in the United States. And it should be the most secure process in the world.
mhm.
You know, I'm not
It should be annoying. It should be
I'm
worse than going through TSA.
I'm not saying that we should be blood stamping and DNA samples and all that stuff. I'm not saying all that because I'm against all that too.
Yeah.
I don't give my DNA or blood samples
Right.
to just anybody. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is it needs to be secure. If there's questions, there needs to be avenues of audit to audit things. and there needs to be accountability when things fail. Like
Yeah.
literally, like 2, 3 people sign off sheets. You know what I mean? Like there
Mm-hmm.
needs to be since we're in a two-party system, there needs to be a Republican independent and a Democratic person signing off on everything. You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
like literally, it needs to be that tight.
Yeah.
Like I worked for banks, and you can't go to the safe without another person present with you. They have half the code that you need to get into that safe. You know, you're signing in keys. You need 2 people present. There's a process of checks and balances. And
Yeah.
why is it so hard? And when they do try to modernize or try to do something, gets taken advantage of. You know what I
Mm.
mean? Like I don't know what the answer is, but I do know that it could be more secure than it is right now.
Oh, dude, it's so bad. But what else do we have? We don't have another system in
Yeah.
place, and
Yeah.
we need to maybe we need to put our heads together and figure out a new voting way.
I
But
mean, they do say the paper ballots and single day voting and going back to precinct voting. So, you know, you would go to your local school wherever you're assigned. And I remember
mm,
voting like that back in the day. We would go to our local school right here, right down the
same.
street.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, for the most part, most businesses understand that it's voting day, and they let you go have an extended lunch, go vote or whatever, or they let you have the day off, you know,
Mm-hmm.
to go vote. So there's no excuse of you can't go voting because
Right.
it's the normal in our country that you're going to go
I,
vote. Okay, go take your extra time off.
I think we get so caught up in the instant gratitude of like, you know, standing in line and going through that whole process of voting. Like back in the day when I was working for other companies, I would get a check and I'd have to drive to the office every Friday, get that check, go to the bank, stand in line, cash that check, or put it in my bank. Put it
Mm-hmm.
deposit the check. And I took pride in that. It was like part of the process. I worked my butt off all week. I'm gonna go get my check. I'm gonna drive to the bank. That sounds terrible now. That sounds like a waste of time to me. And honestly, because I'm so used to now, I can take my phone out, take a quick picture of that check, and I'm done. I go about my day, or direct deposit. I just get an email. Oh, sweet. I got a couple bucks in the bank.
Mm-hmm.
Direct deposit. Thanks for that. So the convenience of voting is pretty widespread. Like you can mail it in, which is kind of like uh, a Hail Mary, I guess. You don't really know if it's going to make it. You wait for that text message to say it was counted. Or you can go down and vote in person and stand in line the old way, and go to the ballot box and, go into the little makeshift rickety thing and fill out your ballot. But then it still has to get transported. It still has to go through the same phases of wherever it goes to get counted. However, it's uploaded to some sort of computer system, some supercomputer system that could also make mistakes or get hacked or doesn't. So you go from paper to electronic because no one's actually got notepads with hash marks written on it. You know what I mean?
Well,
So
I mean, well,
there's
they would have the tabulators there at the precinct, and by the end of the night, for the last person that would um, basically cast their vote, they would do their count, and that precinct would just report that number over. You know what I
yeah.
mean? Like it wasn't that hard. It was simple,
Mhm.
simple, and you know more
I think the dying
less acceptable, like you said. Like now that we have electronic this, electronic that, what happened in the last election?
yeah,
Millions, thousands of votes went missing or got deleted or got shifted to the other party. It's all documented. It happened.
yeah,
Like now, to what degree we don't know because judges didn't allow a full investigation on all precincts and locations. That's a big problem too. They didn't
yeah,
want to open a can of worms that was gonna disenfranchise the voting process.
yeah.
I really think that's probably what they were scared of signing off on some of the biggest investigations that could shift our country. like,
Right.
and start looking questions, because once you start shoveling, bring out the shovel, you have to start digging, you know.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. You mean you might not always like the direction you're going, man. Jeez.
So I'm glad we're having this conversation, because it's stuff that it's obviously that's been on my mind. It's been bothering me, and I'm sure a lot of our viewers that are starting to tune in. I really appreciate everybody. If you guys made it at this far, let me give you some guys some analytics here, because here at Bro Media, we like numbers. We like holding even ourselves accountable. I know there was almost 2 weeks that we didn't post, but I want to give you guys numbers, and just to kind of give you guys how many of you are watching us but not subscribed. So if you guys can
Yeah. Click
like,
that button.
click that button, subscribe for us. You guys
You know
don't.
what's funny? Ever since that we started doing this, I noticed that I'm guilty of that. I'll visit. I've got lots of people's pages that I visit, and I'm like, oh, dude, I wasn't even subscribed. So, and now that I understand how important that is, I make sure to subscribe. And I've been following dudes on
All right,
here for like
all
a
right.
year or two.
So here's the. Are you guys ready? Ninety
I
percent of
haven't
our
even heard
view
this.
90% of our viewers are not subscribed.
92%.
90, it's flat 90,
Oh, 90.
flat 90, 90.0. So please
Hmm.
hit that like button, write down a comment. If you just want to say hi to us, say hi to us. If you have a question, write down a question. There hasn't been any comments, unfortunately, in the last few posts here, but that's okay. We want to hear from you guys. Ryan, I'll let you guys sign us off.
Yeah. I mean, thanks again, guys, for tuning in. I know our podcasts are, we never plan on what we're going to talk about, although we had a good idea with all the political stuff happening. And, you know, being from the music industry, I have always thought that we should stay in our own lanes. I always didn't like it when the musicians started to get political, because it really like kind of skewed my views of them, because they're taking away from us. So we're coming from a place of just open format where we can talk about daily events, you know, what's going on in the world, and express kind of how our take is on it. It obviously means something to me and Laz and our families and stuff. The direction of our company, I'm sorry, the direction of our country, and how things are going to turn out in the next 6 months to a year, however long it takes for the scales to tip, and hopefully the scales will tip, and it starts to plane out for everybody. You know, ultimately, I want everybody to need, you know, to live in happiness with each other, and I think until we come to grounds and figure out ways to show each other gratitude, we're always going to have battles. We're always going to have people fighting for what they believe is right. Um, but here in Bro Media, you know, we try to keep it not completely one-sided. Obviously, you probably understand our views now, but I also want to come at the views as the peaceful warrior. I'm not going to tell you your ideas are dumb. I'm not going to make fun of that. Like, but this is what the format's about. It's just for us to chop it up, talk about things that are important to us. You know, our wives, our lives, our families, our businesses, music. And we sure appreciate you tuning in. Liking and subscribing kind of lets us know that you appreciate that. Brings us to the forefront of the algorithms for YouTube and other formats that we're on. So we really appreciate you tuning in. A lot of you guys catch us in the shorts, which is great. Make sure you're liking those too if you can. And if you want to get notified when we go live, click there's a notification button too, I believe, at the bottom of our page. So thanks for tuning in. We're going to try to ramp these up and do a little bit more of these at least once a week, because there's just a lot going on. Sometimes they'll be a little solemn, you know, more political. Sometimes we'll be telling stories about jumping off stages and taking face dives, and
That's right.
you know, you know, it's just you never really know what we're gonna get, and I love that format. Laz, I'm super appreciative of you and your friendship, and you know, you're there for me on a personal level for things in my life that I just wanted to express gratitude and let you know you appreciated.
Yeah,
And
thanks, thanks.
you know,
Same here, man. Same here. Much love.
yeah. And there's not a lot of people I would enjoy doing this with. I don't think there's anybody else I would want to sit here and just chop it up
Chop it
about
up.
politics. Is kind of boring, actually. But it is part of our day in and day out, man. It's affecting us all, no matter what side of the coin you're on.
Yep.
Just got to practice to be kind to each other for no reason at all times. It's free. It's not hard to do. Somebody says something you don't like, you don't have to give it any negative energy. Just remember who you want to be and stick to it. So thanks for tuning in. And once again, please like and subscribe. We'll see you next time.